Good morning, my Green Light the Day family. How are you this morning? I want to share with you a little experience I had this weekend. So I was out at the farm again because there's gardening, and I actually had the last week off. I was on vacation, and we were up at the cabin, and I did a bunch of work up there, paint, staining, and stuff like that. And then back at the farm, there's garden stuff was coming in, so I was picking raspberries and peas and canning fruit and vegetables and soups and pickling stuff um, and then on Sunday I was driving back into the city here because I had to go back to work this week. And when I got about halfway home, this song came on, and it just instantly transported me back to my first romance ever. Now, my first romance was unusual. A lot of things in my life are unusual when I think about it. But I was just barely 18, and I had called in one night when I was studying for one of my classes to request a song on the radio. And the DJ asked me to stay on the line. And we started chatting. He was sure that he knew me, but he didn't. But we ended up talking for the rest of that night. And he asked me to call back the next night. So I did. And then he asked me to call back the next night. And so I did. And so on. So we did this for, I don't know, a couple of weeks. And then I was going out of town. And he told me to listen to the radio. He was working that evening. He was a junior on staff, so he worked always evenings and nights. And about halfway home, actually right about the same spot that the song came on when I was driving back on Sunday, he comes on the radio and he dedicates a song to me. And the song he dedicated to me was the one of the top love songs that year. And it was by Sheriff. I wrote it down because I knew I wouldn't remember the name of it. Let me look. When I'm with you. How could I forget that? Anyway, so he dedicated this song to me. Well, I have to say that that was probably one of the most romantic things that had ever happened to me to that point in my life and since. And part of that is because it was a first, right? It was a first. And that's what I want to talk to you about today is first. So I don't know if I could actually say that we were in love, but we were certainly in deep like. And we continued to have our very odd phone relationship for probably, I don't even remember, I think it was 6 or 8 months or something like that. And then he moved out of the city and I didn't meet him. So we had never met face to face at that point in time. And then back then there wasn't all the deals on long distance. So we started corresponding, writing letters back and forth. And his parents still lived here in the city. And so when he did eventually come home, we did meet. But during that time, I got my first love letters, and those were thrilling and exciting. And you know, hearing that song, it just took me right back to all of those feelings that we get when we do those firsts, right? And in this case, like it was just, you know, it was the adrenaline and the excitement of this unknown because I'd never met him, but I felt like I knew him because we had talked so much, and it was that first romance and, you know, the first love letters and the dedication of the song, and then he came home and we met, and oh my God, it was totally awkward, and we were two awkward, not very confident teenagers sitting next to one another on the couch and not having a single thing to say to one another. So it didn't end well, but that doesn't negate all of those wonderful feelings that occurred during that initial first, right? Anyways, I wanted to share that with you because that's my green light inspiration this week. Is that song took me back to that moment, but then I started thinking about all of the firsts in my life and how amazing my life has been with those firsts. My first job, my first car, you know, the first time I moved away from home, my first trip overseas, my first trip period, right, as an adult. Or actually when I was in high school, when I went on my first trip, my first plane ride, all of those amazing firsts, right? And And it just continued on as life goes on. And I've been doing a whole bunch of firsts that I just talked about. Like, I'd never canned fruit before, and I canned fruit, and it turned out good. It tasted great. I made mom's cabbage soup. Now it didn't turn. It turned out all right. It was good. It's good, but there's something different than this. So I got to work on that, right? But it was a first, and it's a learning experience. And when you're trying that first for the first time, and you're right on the cusp, and you're thinking, can I do this? Will I do this? What's going to happen? Right? There's that, I don't know, like you can't replace those feelings that you get with the first. And when you succeed and when things turn out well, it's like you own it, right? Nobody can take that from you. And even if things don't turn out the way you expected it, the lessons you learn in facing that first and moving towards it and through it are lessons that you're going to take with you, lessons that you learned, things that you learn to the next first so that you can do better and keep going. And I just got so excited about the fact that it's our choice. Like, we can live our life in a rut, never changing, never looking outside of that safety zone, or we can choose to live a life of firsts, looking for those firsts, meeting those challenges, and getting excited about it because we have that choice, right? So that, anyways, I just got so excited about that, driving back and thinking about all the firsts in my life and all the firsts yet to come, right? So this week, I hope that some good firsts come your way. I hope that you're taking care of yourself and each other. Make a great day.